Now, the question on everyone's lips after they've seen Edge drafted to Smackdown is Edge a babyface once again? Now, just at the beginning of this year, in time for WrestleMania, Edge returning with a brand new babyface gimmick that, for all intents and purposes, didn't get over. Now, the crowd just weren't behind him. There weren't any cheers. It was just something that really fell very, very flat. Now, of course, at that time, Edge was being partnered up with Slim Jim to be almost the face of the promotional campaign that the E were going to be involved in, and I think that was a big part of the decision. Now, I think if Edge had that penciled in for perhaps the next 2 years, he suffered badly then when that all collapsed.
Yep, I think Edge is in a worrying position. I think he's in where Punk was just after coming out of. He's in Punk's dodgy spot, I suppose. That's what we'll call it. He needs some time out, I think. They can't really do much with him at the moment. Well, I can't see what they can do with him. They're just going to keep him babyface with that drivel. He had some good babyface runs, I think, in the past when he wasn't overly Edge, if you get me. He was just a bit more normal, and he could do it perfectly. But I don't know, when he goes overly Edge, it just becomes a bit of a nuisance. And I think he's done the heel thing, kind of to death. So maybe some time out for Edge wouldn't be a bad idea.
There you go. I was thinking that, and he could do with perhaps some time off TV, but then all that injury time, it's added up over the years, and at times he's been off TV more than he's been on. So it certainly, as you say, seems to be a little bit of a worrying position for him. And you mentioned CM Punk and that place he's been trapped in. Of course, he's now getting a fresh push. But if it's something that they decide to push him for, then I think it can get over. I can't see how that kind of cheesy, cringeworthy humour he couldn't get over with that 13 audience.
Yeah, SmackDown seems to be a bit more kids kind of orientated compared to Raw as well. Maybe that's why Mysterio's still over there, but yeah, maybe it might work for him on SmackDown. At least it will give SmackDown something fresh, and at least for him it's something fresh, and he doesn't have to put up with R-Truth and whatnot. So maybe he can hold it out, but it's going to be interesting to see. I'll give it maybe 8 weeks of a trial just to see. We'll get back to you in 8 weeks with our thoughts, maybe.
It's true. We'll have to see how it pans out. Of course, Edge almost a comic book character, and with the move to sci-fi and the sci-fi programming on there, he does fit in well. And the kind of younger audience, I think, with this Mysterio following and perhaps even the Caval following by now, you could be seeing more of that on SmackDown in the future. Of course, everybody has wondered why wrestling is on sci-fi since the beginning of the ECW programming over there, but it's certainly a better audience for SmackDown, and I think the decision to put Edge over there, again, showing that they are going to try, they're going to make a bit of effort. But then this week, of course, when he did come out, he got those cheers. Now, as you said, I think last week, sometimes it's just when they come out and they've just been drafted, like Punk this week, they get cheered.
This is it, but I mean, again, Chris Masters got cheered, and he got cheered pretty big. So you have to wonder about the SmackDown crowd, really, where it's at and what we're actually dealing with in the reality of things.
Of course, those SmackDown tickets a little bit cheaper, and I say a lot of the people in there just happy to be there, and indeed I think the cheers and pops that come probably because they're seeing a live WWE show. I think if they didn't want him to turn babyface though, they might have made some attempt at hiding those cheers, and I don't think they did. Of course, Edge with those red sunglasses as well, and I think at one point in his career he used to wear them.
Yeah, he's got a hat now too.
Good hat, and I think has it been gimmicked? Has it got his logo?
I don't know, but at least he's trying something, I suppose. And I think actually he might have his jacket back.
That's right, he does. He does.
So that's 3 things that he's got going for him.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten that he'd gotten sort of rid of that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He started coming out in the tights.
Yeah, maybe he is trying to pull it back to the sci-fi demographic.
Rated R, something we debated a few months ago, not possible in PG-13, and I think this almost a follow-up to that video here on WrestleDope quite a while back, where we questioned what he could do now. After all, such an evil character over the past few years, and indeed the association with Vicky Guerrero, which I think, to be honest, was some of the highlights of his career, certainly in the last 5 years. It's what I remember most, is that pairing, and I think it's worked so well. They both drew in so much heat, and they could do it again, so perhaps we're going to look at that. Of course, Caitlin is in there now, and maybe she's taken off.
Maybe she is. I just remember Christian's on Smackdown too, so there's some potential for some Edge and Christian shit from the old days. Might be funny, might not be, but still worth to go, I think.
Very good point. Christian's injured, but he will be back, and I think if Edge is over as babyface by then, put Christian in and it'll work.
Put Christian in with the old Christian theme tune and we're smooth sailing.
Edge drafted to SmackDown, and yeah, I didn't expect that, to be quite honest. I thought that they were going to just keep him right there on Raw, but it's like they don't now let these guys suffer. They see them in a position where they're not doing much, they make a decision immediately.
Yeah, well, sometimes it has to be done.
So let's talk to everybody else in the chat room, see what you're saying about Edge. And I think Edge, is he a good wrestler? I mean, is he a good worker? I think he does kind of surprise me sometimes, and it's all about spear, 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 but let's not have any of that again.
Yeah, we want to stay away from the spear, 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 but it is kind of funny at the same time, so maybe not. What was the question?
About Edge, and I actually forget myself. But
was he a good worker in the ring?
Yes.
Yeah, he is, I suppose. Yeah.
To me, he's almost bordering on one of those guys who it looks like he's dancing at times. I think it's the tallness and the kind of maybe thinness of him that at times maybe I found hard to buy. But I've always enjoyed whatever he's been up to, storyline wise, mostly, and generally I think I've rated him quite highly.
Yeah, I think it's time for a new theme tune as well.
Yeah, he's had that forever, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had that one for quite some time now.
Right, Ministry of Darkness 85, talking about, of course, that tragic death of Luna Vachon, and indeed the results of those tests came out, and of course another accidental overdose ruled, one of many, even in the past few months, and it just doesn't ever seem to end. XPSM, Edge on SmackDown, there are some good stories there, and Stinger Splash mentioning that Edge said he was going to retire in 2 years, so maybe this is the final run.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I mean, how many times did he win the title? 9 times or something like that?
Is it that much? Yeah. Now? Wow,
that's a lot of that's pretty good going. I mean, I'd happily retire if I was Edge.
Yeah, what more can you do? And certainly if he has the cash in the back pocket, I would say do a Jericho and take 3 years out.
Yeah, go enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Ashley is my name, Edge as face and Christian as heel. Interesting to see how that would work, and I think maybe even WrestleMania, if Christian makes it back in time, might be where we see those two guys. I know they said that Christian might not be back in time for that though.
Well, yeah, I think it was, they gave it like a fair amount of months before he came back, so if it happens, it might be good. Depends on, I suppose, where they're both at.